Lots of people like to talk about this movie and its decision to completely ditch the use of any music of any kind whatsoever at all. A decision which they then label as being solely responsible for the horror-like suspense we find ourselves marinating in, from basically start to finish. And while I mean they're not wrong, having no music definitely supports the effort in creating that suspense. The real hero in this story is not the composer and their easiest day at work. No.
You do more in terms of sort of literally laying out every scene, so that by the time you make the movie, you've done all the heavy lifting.
But actually the sum of a much bigger and more impressive use of very simple filmmaking devices that come together in a truly wondrous harmony. A harmony which gets me depressed about my own abilities every time I watch it. But fear not, for I have found fortuitous purpose in analyzing these things to discover the secrets of where they put the camera, how long they leave it there for, what they do with it next, and what they do with sound to manipulate it. What makes No Country for Old Men a literal masterclass in crafting suspense in film. For this video, I'll format it like this. I'll pick a few scenes and then rip them apart. I won't pick this scene because it's been done a million times before.
That's the way it is.
But with any chosen scene you feel like choosing, you start to notice the similar patterns in execution. They just do it again and again and again. There's the famous quote on editing that goes, "What, when, and how long?" I think that's how it goes. The fundamental purpose of a cut, nothing more to it. If you can understand that simplicity, then editing starts to make sense.
It's a little bit like telling a good joke. If the joke could be a great joke, but if you tell it with the wrong rhythm, it falls flat.
No movie shows this simplicity at practice better, in my opinion, than No Country for Old Men. Edited by Joel and Ethan Coen, who directed the movie.
We really came together as a family. I mean, I'm not including, Joel and Ethan here.
What is happening? What's the story? What's been written in the script to actually happen? Sugar, whatever, tracks the case of money to Llewellyn's hotel. That's what's in the script. And purely reading the script on its own will be a suspenseful experience because it's a well-written script. And as the scene progresses, there are script choices to elevate it. This is an antagonist worth fearing. You are in danger. You better get out of Dodge.
I ate a lot. I drank a lot of beer. I stopped smoking. Very professional.
That's conveyed on the page before any cameras or visual ideas are brought forth. But in a movie, you can have more tools. When does it happen? When do we put this shot? When do we show Llewellyn taking evasive action? When do we show Sugar approaching the desk? When do we show this iconic shot of Sugar walking with no shoes on? When does Llewellyn stop pulling the briefcase out of fear of being heard?
Editing is certainly 70% about rhythm and what you are showing and the rate at which you show it.
Movies are a sequence of images, a sequence of moments spliced together. Even if the script dictates what happens first, there's a more minutia in a sequence of clips than a sequence of words. How do we capture this moment? Where do we put the camera? How does it move? The director and cinematographer think about this for a while, carefully planning framing and movement, deciding on lenses and lighting to best capture each moment. Like verbal language, there's visual language. A static shot has a different feeling than a handheld shot or a tracking shot, and knowing how to use a camera to tell your story is important. The Coens place emphasis on Sugar's feet, highlighting his ability to be very stealthy, framed alongside his two preferred murder methods and his very unbothered, unsettling facial expression lit in a very high contrast lighting setup. A very still, calm camera telling us this is no biggie for Mr. Sugar, showing us his capabilities and his calm, well-prepared approach to violence. And for how long do we hold it? The timing of how the filmmakers deliver what the visual information is to us. That's where all the suspense is generated from. But what about sound? What, when, and how long? What do we hear? When do we hear it? And how long do we hear it for? The same principles being applied to the visuals are being applied to the audio as well. Let's take this other scene. When he finally finds the tracker inside the suitcase. What is happening? Finally, the dramatic irony of the tracker is gone, and the audience has no more information than what Llewellyn had. Because of this, it almost feels like we are suddenly in this together with him. No answer at the front desk. Probably not a good sign. From here, the entire masterclass of suspense comes from when do we show stuff, when do we hear stuff, and for how long. Likely the quietest scene in the movie, likely the most suspenseful. In being so quiet, it's almost like we're trying to be quiet ourselves, because every little movement makes so much noise. How long do we hold this quietness for? When do we finally and burst into the action scene that follows? If you watch this movie from start to finish and think about the what, the when, the how, and the how long for the whole time, you can get a pretty incredible film education. You then learn that the whole no music thing is merely the thing on the surface that sticks out. It's a choice designed to combat what an audience member might expect, flip you over and let you figure yourself out. Without a soundtrack to tell you how you feel, how should you feel? Well, when there's a serial killer walking in utter silence towards the main character with a deadly weapon designed to murder cows, which he previously used to murder several humans,
Will you hold still, please, sir?
you're probably going to feel nervous. But sound design can be music too. Ambient, regular noises that, with story context, become the most suspenseful music you'll ever hear. I typically despise when movies push you to feel a certain way. For example, when emotional music starts playing over a sad scene. When something like that happens, I get the urge to do the opposite. I get the urge to get distracted. Suddenly I'm taken out of the story and the entire experience completely. I always tell myself that I prefer movies that don't push you towards a specific reaction. But the thing is, every film is always pushing you towards a certain reaction. That's art. So then what the hell's the difference? Let me think. Well, maybe it's just about confidence in your decision. If we agree that in every scary scene, every filmmaker is trying to make you scared, then we can agree the only logical difference is in how they do so. So what's different about this? And this? In my opinion, one of these creators is far more confident in their work. The Coens realize that their scene is scary, and they don't feel the need to call in the help of music to scare you. To me, the scene in Halloween is begging for you to be scared. I'm scary, right? Right? Almost similar to the psychology of confidence being an attractive trait in humans, the same idea could be what's happening here, almost as if you can feel the insecurity of some filmmaking choices that they hope work, against the confidence shown in the Coen brothers' ability to direct suspense. Maybe audiences pick up on the confidence of artists and are attracted not to desperate choices to connect with them that end up pushing them away, but confident choices that propel them to lean forward and listen.
Yeah, well, that's just like your opinion, man.